Hey, everybody, it is Nathan Selove with yet another episode of You Might Be Autistic If, the show where we read some of our audience submitted statements that speculate on behaviors, actions, and just general ways of thinkings that you might be autistic if you relate to. With me, of course, is my father, Raymond Selove.
Hi, everybody.
And we are going to read some of these. As a reminder, the point of this is to laugh at ourselves, have fun moments where we relate to each other, and hopefully establish some type of community. None of this is meant to be malicious or insulting to people on the spectrum. This is us laughing at ourselves and hopefully being somewhat relatable to each other. As always, if we mispronounce your name, please let us know in the comments with the phonetic pronunciation, and we will try to make sure that we get that correct in the future. And of course, don't forget that these are general. You might be autistic ifs. Some of them might be more specific, but if you relate to some of these, that doesn't automatically mean that you are autistic. And if you don't relate to any of these, that doesn't automatically mean that you aren't. You met one autistic, you met one autistic. So, you ready to get started, Dad?
Yes, let's begin.
All right.
Okay, this one's from Brent Makes, or is it Brent Mackies? You might be autistic if you thought you hated fireworks, but actually what you hate is random explosions outside your house. When you can see the fireworks launching, it's okay. You
Interesting.
know, I I really relate to that because the the unexpected noises I find really painful and just debilitating. But when I know the sound is coming, it's much easier to deal with.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, like just the noise in general was really hard for me. I remember my mom had to actually hold my ears.
Yeah.
Which by the way, that's another you might be autistic if when you were a kid, your mother had to hold your ears during fireworks or like in movie theaters.
She used to do that for entire movies. You'd be sitting on her lap and she'd have her hands over your ears to get through an entire movie. You know
Yeah.
what Shelley and I were doing the night before you were born. So Nathan has a July 5th birthday. Maybe you don't want people to know your birthday. Maybe we need to skip that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Um, so
Send me flowers.
the night before Nathan was born, Shelley and Nathan and I went up to the top of Great North Mountain and we watched fireworks from the mountaintop. There was a power line cut that we would sit in up there, and we could see the fireworks in Winchester and in Stephen City and in Middletown and in Front Royal, and they were all really far away. It was beautiful and didn't have to worry about the noise at all. It was ideal. So silent, distant fireworks. That's what Nathan was exposed to the night before he was born.
So that's what you attribute.
Either that or the autism, one of
Yeah,
those.
but one or the other. So this next one is a rather long one and a rather specific one, but I still wanted to include it because I think in a lot of ways there are aspects of this that are pretty relatable. So this is from Tigster dash QR8MW. You might be
I'm
autistic
pretty
if
sure that would be Tigster.
Tigster.
I think so.
Ah, that makes sense. Hey, Tigster, comment below, let us know. Um, You might be autistic if, when you almost reach adulthood, suddenly someone who is autistic say they don't believe you when you say you're neurotypical, and then proceeds to talk about some of the stuff they notice about you, and you begin to notice things too. And when you mention it in passing to another friend, saying some online friends think you might be autistic, their response is, "Yeah, you kind of are." And then they say they think the whole school probably thought you were autistic, but no one said anything, and that people were laughing at you and not with you, which you kind of knew but didn't care because you liked laughing and making people laugh in class. But at the same time, the idea that people don't really respect you, makes you feel emotions as you think about how you peaked in high school, yet the conditions in which you peaked in high school were so weird. And now the friend on Discord who got this whole thing started, then ended up cutting contact with you for reasons that are your fault. And you know it still hurts. So now you're just left a mess because of how you thought you were friends and how you fucked it all up, and thinking about all the conversations you two had about autism and wondering if you truly are autistic and if you should see about getting tested. So, a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, yeah.
lot to unpack there. Also, a lot of things to,
So I think there are a lot of people who can relate to this.
yeah.
Um, and I can certainly relate to the one who says, yeah, you're autistic, because I've said that to a number of people,
Yeah.
uh, like your wife.
It took me a while to realize, like, yeah, I mean, I know that we've told this story before on the channel, but like it was the moment where she said, "Oh yeah, sometimes I look at people's noses because eye contact makes me uncomfortable." And I was like, damn
No
it."
kidding.
I know what that
And
means.
what was it she said? So when did you first suspect that I might be autistic? And what was our answer? Oh, maybe about 5 seconds into meeting you.
It took me a little longer, but yeah, like I think I can definitely relate to the whole people laughing at you and not with you, and you kind of just going along with it because you wanted to fit in. I think that that's actually a very common thing for people of various different marginalized identities, where it's just kind of like, I want to seem non-threatening, and the best way I can do that is to be funny, is for people to find me funny. And like maybe I'm doing it at the expense of myself, but that's the only way that I can feel safe. So I think that one's definitely something that I can relate to.
I really feel bad about people who had to go through childhood not understanding what this was, when it could have helped. Um, that certainly happened to me, and it happened to your wife, Jess.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I look at, there's some parents who don't want to tell their kids that they're autistic because they don't want to stigmatize them. And
Yeah.
I just and we struggled with that question ourselves for a while, but when we decided, no, we've got to tell him, it was this revelation for you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it really helped you. And I think, gosh, I wish I had had that. I
Yeah.
wish Jess had had that. I wish people could understand early enough to make a little more sense of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want
and
to read the
and
next one?
maybe some of these traumas that people have in their relationships, they'd be able to handle better if they'd kind of understood that difference earlier on, like you were able to. So, next one, why a librarian? If you ever got up from tossing and turning to see if you could figure out what was keeping you awake, and you tracked the feeling in your ears to a television 3 rooms away that was allowed to go to sleep rather than being turned off, you might be autistic. So, I haven't had that
Interesting.
exact one, but I have had these, just barely perceptible electronic sounds coming from a machine that I just drive me crazy, and I have to track them down. And sometimes I'm going all through the house trying to find the source of the damn thing so I can finally turn it off. And Shelly will be saying, What are you talking about? She's not hearing it at all.
Yeah.
Although with her, she has a similar kind of thing with smells that
Hmm.
are indetectable to me, but she's just, she once was able to smell the fact that a pilot light on our neighbor's stove in the next house over had blown out.
Wow. Wow.
I couldn't smell it. They couldn't
Yeah.
smell it inside their own house, but she was searching our house and then searching the neighborhood, and finally knocked on their door and said, "Can you check your pilot lights?"
No, she was a drug dog. Like if I hung around a person in high school that like had been smoking marijuana,
Oh yeah.
because I did not smoke marijuana in high school. I never
Well, of
smoked
course
marijuana in
not.
high school.
It was illegal then.
Yeah, of course. But like if I so much as hung around somebody and like I got home and mom gave me a hug, she'd be like, Nathan, what you been up to? What you been up to?
So this is a sensory hypersensitivity, and sometimes it can be different senses, but it can just drill into you sometimes. And
All right, up next we have Godzilla Wick. You might be autistic if you try to memorize the exact date of almost any certain event that happened in your life. It's something that I do every time when I watch a movie for the first time. I don't do it. I wouldn't say I do it with every single movie, but like I definitely do remember like specific dates. Um, although for me it's usually associated with a traumatic event, which I don't know why I'm trying to save those dates. Like it seems to me I should be trying to forget those, but like I do remember some specific dates specifically because like a traumatic event or a really sad thing happened.
so I've never been particularly good with dates.
Oh no.
Sometimes I can remember dates, but a lot of my life is arranged around politics. I remember things based on
Who was
which
president?
presidential administration they occurred under. Um, but that can sometimes leave quite a bit of uh, variability.
Well, yeah,
Some of those damn presidents were presidents for 8 years.
yeah, and some of the ones in your lifetime were president for what, like 3 years? Like,
Okay, yeah, that happened. Ford. But I know a lot of autistics who are what I would refer to as calendar savants.
yes.
And it just, you know, it's amazing to watch. I love to see it when people are able to do that.
And I respect that. Like I think about all of the amazing things that had to be taken into account in order to create the Gregorian calendar.
Oh yeah.
And I love telling people about it and like explaining leap year. And one time it was referenced on a show and I paused it for a sec and I was about to explain to Jess again, and she was like, Nathan, if you explain the Gregorian calendar again to me, I will go in the other room.
You're a professor. Go explain it to your class. They can't divorce you because of it. Okay, Blakes. You might be autistic if you often drop fun facts into conversations.
Literally what I was just talking about. Yeah.
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 And if there are specific fun facts that you find a way to get into almost every conversation,
Oh, yeah.
Jess has, I'd say, about a dozen
Oh, yeah.
favorites that she tries to work into everything.
Yeah, I would just like to point out, like I was talking, like she gets annoyed with me talking about the Gregorian calendar. She has explained like the entire history of the Tudors at least 18 times to me in the course of our relationship.
So,
Like,
so be honest now, Nathan. Do you have it down, or do you need it explained again?
I do not need it explained again.
You sure?
Divorce, beheaded, died. Divorce, beheaded, survived. I know. That is all the ones that we have time for. Thank you all so much to those of you that submitted you might be autistic if statements. If you have a you might be autistic if statement that you would like to comment down below and potentially have read and react to on a future episode, then please feel free to do so. So that is today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Check out some of our other stuff, and you will see us in the next one.
Bye, everybody.